Welcome to Immediate Review, where we see a movie theaters and review it immediately in my car. We just saw 1933's King Kong, the original King Kong, not Peter Jackson's remake. But we are going to watch that too. We'll review both of them.
we decided we're gonna do a review of Peter Jackson's King Kong after this, just to compare and contrast the two. But let's try to not talk about that too much.
Yeah.
We'll do that in the next one.
I haven't seen. I've seen parts of that one, but yeah. So this one, Fathom Events, if you didn't know, just did a showing of it here in town. We went and checked it out. I had never seen this movie before at all. I haven't. This is most definitely the oldest movie I've seen in theaters. I'm pretty damn sure.
I think it's older than Mr. Smith. It's definitely older than The Uninvited.
Yeah. And yeah, not the oldest I've seen on film, because this is obviously Regal and they don't have film projectors. But anyways, we'll get to just I guess you've seen the movie before, so who goes first for like just a general review?
I mean, I love the movie, but I definitely I've never appreciated it as much as seeing it on the big screen, because sometimes when you're at home, I don't know, just certain scenes are just way more impressive when you see them like inflated, and I've never noticed just how much scope this movie has, and just how many ambitious wide shots there are, and just like that it's just once it gets to the action, it is nonstop. And like even movies from like the 60s and stuff, a lot of movies, they'll have 2, maybe 3 action sequences. It's usually like one in the middle and then a big one at the end. And this one's just nonstop. It's just like a fuck ton of animals constantly happening. Kong throws shit, it falls in. It's just, I don't know, the special effects, they really make the movie. It's, for me, it's the main reason I watch and enjoy it. Other than that, it's pretty fucking funny, honestly. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's intentional or not. Comedy is very different in the 30s, and I think about a quarter of what I find funny in this movie is an intentional joke, and the rest is just like, good old 1930s films. Because you gotta understand the context of this. Talkies had only been around for 5 years. And so, the mid-Atlantic accent was just real popular, and everyone talked like this, see? And, it's just got a silly charm to it that, and some of the lines in this, you gotta, I had a blast, watching it in theaters. It's a great fun film. It's a landmark, and I'm glad they're playing it.
So, this movie, it's definitely a marvel. Like it's it's very ambitious is a good word. It's definitely very ambitious for a movie that was made like 90 years ago. This is like, it's incredible, like what they were able to do. The stop motion is like state of the art for the time. Like it genuinely.
I think the matte paintings and the composite shots are the most impressive thing about this movie. There are so many just like triple composites where they achieve depth of field, and it's nuts. Go on. Sorry.
And the structure of the movie is you can tell that it's structured like a play, honestly, and that was like the structure that they were familiar with at the time. And I just got done working on a play that was written around the time, like probably 15 years after this. I think, I'm not sure exactly when Gypsy was written,
and it takes place in the same era.
But same era, and it was just very unique to see. This old film with all of this, just thinking about like how, like, when they do the test shots on the boat and whatnot, and then he's like, okay, that's awesome, and then he like puts a filter in, and I was like, thinking about it, and it's like, as a digital filmmaker, like we have a monitor that can show us, like we get to do whatever settings and like see exactly what it is. And I was thinking, like, he put a filter on without looking, and I was like, oh yeah, they had to do a test through all of the different shots at that lighting level to see what worked best.
I love that it's a movie about making movies.
Yeah.
Like at its not at its core, but the first half at least is just like it's a movie about Hollywood.
Yeah, about like going to someplace and yeah, it was just cool to see kind of how they ran through things, troubleshooting the problems of not being able to look at your footage essentially while you're filming it. You don't get to look at the final product at all. And so yeah, that was really cool.
It's an early example of like the crazy director who's willing to do anything to get his shot.
Yeah.
And it's a little meta. You could tell the director of King Kong, Marion C. Cooper, I'm pretty sure. I'll make sure I got that right. Yeah. Yeah, just kind of, I don't know, you could tell Karl Denham's loosely based on him.
yeah. And it's interesting too, because the movie, like nowadays, like a lot of what I was thinking of was how it's an interesting lens into essentially like 1930s like misogyny like ingrained like homosexual nature of sailors and stuff. Like
I never noticed
it's
that.
really interesting. It's just like, oh, like there's the lines of like, you don't even like women.
Yeah, Jack Driscoll, he's just constantly like, no women on board, see? And at first you're like, just classic misogyny, and then there's one part where she mentions another guy on the ship, and he's like, oh, him.
I wouldn't want him thinking of me thinking that he's like that,
yeah,
something. And it's like, oh my god.
And then I'm like, wait a minute, is that why he hates women? And then when he talks to Karl Denham, he's like, you don't think I'd fall for a woman, do you? And I'm just like, holy shit, I never picked up on any of this.
No, yeah, there's some definitely there's some subtext of like, Jack is he's coming to terms. He's scared straight. He's scared straight by a beautiful blonde woman.
I guess I love you.
Yeah, and so I was laughing through this whole movie. Like I don't know, like you said, I think about a quarter of it was meant to be funny, but like the rest of it was just like really funny. Like to just, I don't know, it's like I guess look at it through a modern like we have our our modern bias and beliefs, and looking at it through
part of it's
that.
Sorry.
And I don't know, just little stuff with like when they're on the boat and like they're getting ready to get her and whatnot, and it's like, oh yeah, like there's plenty of dangers on the island, and then they're like, oh, but there's other dangers. I don't think that she'd be expecting any of those. Like
he was like, well, she's used to those dangers.
Yeah, like it's just like, I don't know. There's just kind of like, oh, she comes on the boat with a bunch of men. She's gonna be sexually assaulted. Sure, but she's used to that. It's just like, Jesus Christ, guys. Like,
but I think part of just why it's funny is it's just nowadays what's respected is realism. Like the more real a person sounds, the more entertained we are. It's with exception, but
it's easier to connect with a character that seems real.
It's just people love like realism nowadays, and just kind of the further back you go in cinema, people act less realistic. I mean, the whole mid-Atlantic accent they do, it's not even a real accent. It's strictly for like movies and plays and seeming fashionable. And like if you watch old outtakes, they'll be like, oh yeah, see, and oh fuck, god damn it, sorry, I messed up my line. Like it was just that's how, I don't know, that's what that's what entertainment was, still transitioning from the theatrics of the stage.
And if you think about it, like that's an interesting topic to bring up, because like like nowadays the chances of like seeing something like crazy epic on screen and actually having it be real are pretty slim. Like I think comparing like Avengers movies to like The Irishman is a perfect example. Like Irishman didn't have like CGI was only used for their faces, and we had like all of the action was like practical explosions, you name it.
There was some CGI blood in those windshield shots, but for the most part,
yeah. But and like in a Marvel movie, if you see a giant explosion or something like that, the odds are that's going to be CGI. And the further back you go, the the further back that you go in time, the more real everything gets, because they didn't have the ability to do it, not real. Yeah. So it's like the practicality becomes, more and more. Like I think about like Friday the 13th and like the practical effects there, and just like, I don't know, going back and like, yeah, all of this movie had like they did it. They had to do it all practically. Like all of the monsters like were filmed on, like it was stop motion, but it was still like there. Like they did it. It wasn't like crafted by a computer. Which I know that there are artists that do all of that and whatnot. I just think it's cool.
Which we don't hate on. It's just like the painstaking effort it takes to do all of that without digital technology.
And like go back and look at all the stuff. It holds up, you know what I mean? And like you look at like the first Hellboy movies, CGI is like, it does not hold up at all. But like Friday the 13th, the first movies, like gore and stuff, still looks excellent to this day.
There's something odd. Even when practical effects don't hold up, there's a certain charm. But when CGI doesn't hold up, we're just like, ew.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like there's rarely is bad CGI. Like, oh, bad CGI. It's so funny. I don't know. It's like most of the time it's not good, and we wish it was better.
Yeah, and I think for me it's less of like, okay, here's this software, this is what this software is able to do and whatnot. It's more of like, what in the world physically do you have access to, and how can you make that look like an effect? I think that's way cooler than just here's what this software can do. It's like, what can you do? You're only limited by the creativity of your mind and the material you have access to.
Let's pick this up in the Peter Jackson's King Kong, because that one uses CGI. Yep. There's a hefty amount of practical.
We'll make a note about that to comment on the CG. But CG versus practical.
Let's talk more about the movie itself. One really positive I have that I never noticed is just how concise and well edited it is. Like when we saw Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, we were kind of chuckling at just how like awkward and clunky the editing and the cuts to the close-ups were and stuff. And this one, it's just there's not a lot of awkward editing. Everything is just when it's cutting back and forth between actors and doing two shots and close-ups and pans and stuff. It's really well edited.
It does its dissolves, like it loved dissolves. It had a ton of them in there, and just like standard film techniques, and I think that the only part that kind of lulled for me is right after he gets. Is her name Anne? Anne, yeah. Right after the Kong gets Anne and runs off into the woods, there's kind of like a little bit of a lull before he gets to setting her and the T-Rex battle happens. I felt like that point where I was just like, okay, like, what's happening here? But then it picks, like you said, it picks back up, and the action is pretty consistent. I personally, like, I don't think it needed to be that long through there, like the battle with the snake and the pterodactyl.
That's what I mean.
It was still cool.
The director was just like, look how much we're gonna do. Yeah. And, storytelling conventions were still kind of being figured out, because the new one paces the action a lot, because we've kind of found that that's the best way to make action not feel drawn out and boring. Is nowadays it's hard to get away with. I mean, this movie, seriously, there's like a good 30-minute chunk where it's constantly fight scenes. It's like, oh, fucking pterodactyl, goddamn snake monster, I gotta fight a T-Rex, oh fuck, there's a stegosaurus coming. It's like non-stop, and I just never realized how relentless it is. And I think it works really well because the first half of the movie is all talky and a lot of plot buildup and silly moments. And so it's not too much of a drag, but it's just like nothing really too exciting happens. But then once we get to Skull Island, it just like kicks into overdrive and keeps going. Once Kong shows up, really, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, some of the lines are really interesting in that part too, where they're like, because they're building up like, oh yeah, we're going to the secret island, nobody knows where we're going, this is the map that we're going to, and he's like, here's the reef that we have to get through, and none of that is it's just like, yeah, it's gonna be challenging, and then we get there and they go through and they're just like, do you believe me now? Just like they said, just on my, like exactly like it said on my silly map.
There is lost footage of this movie too, so it is possible that's
okay, yeah, but yeah, just lots of interesting stuff like that, and it just like, yeah, he's like looking
that
for an
gate
actress.
is massive.
Yeah,
the gate set was like jaw dropping.
That scene is super ambitious, but like, yeah, the scene where he's trying to find a woman, and he like goes to like a soup kitchen and then like finds a woman who's like, I love that scene too, of when she's like reaching to like look for an apple, like, because like, you'd pick up an apple and you'd be like, like, is this what I want to get? And yeah, she's like reaching for it, he like goes over and like, I caught you, thief. And he's just like, she didn't take anything, leave her alone, here's $1. And he's like, oh, $1, and just like walks away. It's like, I don't know, just like the human behavior was like,
human behavior.
It was very interesting. And yeah, just I don't know, like, there was, yeah, when the villagers like come to steal her and like they climb on the boat and whatnot, there's like an Asian man on the boat. The cook is just like an Asian stereotype, like literally.
Yeah, but it's awesome that they were acknowledging Chinese immigrants, man.
Is it in that way? Like,
I mean, it is and it isn't. It's. I see
your point, but also,
if we're gonna get into some critical race theory, by the way, kudos for this movie for not using any blackface. Like,
yeah.
This is like Birth of a Nation was still hot at the box office,
and it didn't do like
no, not really.
It didn't try to do
20 years.
It didn't try to do like subtitles or anything like that for him either. Like, it was pretty respectful.
It was like body language. You're right.
Yeah,
I never noticed. It kind of communicates everything. Oh wait, no. They have a translator.
They had a translator, but it would be just like, oh, he said this. He wants to buy her, stuff like that. Like just simple.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
We get 6 women for him. No. Human trafficking is bad. And guerrilla trafficking is bad. Jesus, this whole movie just has so many modern
like poaching.
Yeah. It's like, you can't go steal monkeys.
All right, let's talk about the movie
though. So yeah, I think that one of the reasons why the tower climbing scene is so iconic is because of the way that it cuts back and forth between these, like, because we get very, very little shots of nighttime in the city, which I was honestly intrigued about, because low light shots are notoriously difficult, especially when you're shooting on film.
Back in the day, they were having it took them a while to figure out how to do it well.
Yeah.
There's even a line in the movie. He's like, "Wish I could shoot by fire."
Yeah, exactly. And they have some shots of like when the police are rolling out and whatnot, and you can tell it's nighttime because the shots just look like, they don't look great, honestly, because it's shot at night, and like they didn't have the means to do that very well. But when it cuts back up, it's like still nighttime and whatnot, but you can tell it's a model that they're using stop motion on, and they can light it differently, even though it's nighttime. Everything is very visible.
No, yeah, when they can control the light.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the things, is like, we're trying to have this nighttime experience, and it's lit better than probably anything they'd ever seen at that point, because they're using essentially a stop motion stage and things like that to kind of create this environment, which I guarantee had not been done before at all.
It had. It just not on this scale.
Not at that level, and like combining stop motion and
I think
stages and
Metropolis
live shots
and Lost
World. Like,
I'd say Metropolis and Lost World at this point were the most like impressive big special effects movie. If you got any more, drop in the comments,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, we'd love to know.
Pre-1933, really fucking impressive special effects films. What you got? And what were we talking about? I think part of why it's iconic too. I don't know. It's kind of the story symbolized through the climax. It's just, the rise and fall. I don't know. We all love rise and fall stories, and it's just he literally does it, and it's the climax at the end.
Well, and the stop motion action was tense.
How quick they were cutting it's just crazy that it's how well it's done. It just cuts, from the plane swooping in to the little guys to like Kong's reaction face, which to me are the funniest. The big head they have of Kong.
Yeah,
there's one part where his eyes are like,
yeah, when he's like, pulling the clothes off the girl.
But you know what's crazy is how well they get the King Kong statue to emote. Like they have control of his eyebrows and his eyes, and like it's crazy how they get the emotions through. Image by image, honestly, like better than some stop motion nowadays. Like it's not quite as smooth, but like in terms of communicating emotion through a stiff figure that you have to take individual photos of, like it's.
And apparently it was like a 20-foot like face, like it was massive.
No, not that one. That's the mechanical face that looks silly in the close-ups. But I mean, like when it's although the emotions are expressed in that too. But I mean, like, at the end, like, when Kong gets shot, you see, like, it kind of cuts to a medium shot of the one that's, like, this big. And the way they're adjusting the eyes, you can see the emotion of just, like, shit, I'm going to die. And, like, the wide look in his eyes. And, yeah.
And, yeah, there isn't really any kind of, like, I guess, emotional, like... revelation with Kong. Like this movie doesn't really focus on like sympathizing with him.
The Peter Jackson one,
and
does. Because this one, like once he's dead, then the movie's like, oh, isn't it sad? Even though he's the big bad monster.
Kind of, but at the same time, it's like, but beauty killed the beast. It's just like they play it off with a joke at the end. Like I literally was just like, is that the last line in the movie? And it was like the end, and I was like, holy shit, and just laughed.
It's the most famous line in the movie. Like it's like one of those AFI top 100 movie quote things.
Jesus Christ. What a fuck! Yeah, it's like what a fucking way to end the movie.
I think what's more ridiculous than the line is how much they hammer it in throughout the movie. Like Beauty and the Beast, eh? Yeah,
that's your story.
Beauty and the Beast. Well, it's just like Beauty and the Beast, and then it's like it was Beauty killed the Beast. Remember when we said that? But
yeah, like 7 or 8 other times in the movie. That's your story, boys. Focus on that. He could have stayed up in his castle, but he couldn't stay away from the beauty. That's what killed the beast.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
But yeah, it is, and yeah, I enjoy it. Like I understand why it's held through the test of time. It's like, yeah, it's like it's King Kong. It's our Godzilla. It's like next we need to do King Kong versus Godzilla.
The Japanese one?
I don't know if there is one. I'm pretty sure there's one.
Yeah, there is. I'm down to do King Kong versus Godzilla. Dude, there's a part where fucking he shoves it's awesome. But this year, hopefully, Godzilla versus Kong is coming out, the CGI version. I don't know. There's a Kong Skull Island. It's what are we doing a Kongathon? You want to? Have you heard of Skull Island?
I mean, we need to do our. Am I allowed to say the name of our next?
Not yet.
Series?
No,
yeah, we can't. We got something planned though. It's gonna be fun.
We got a secret series coming up. But
so yeah, I mean we could do a King Kong special. If you we'll do this. If you guys want to see, because we're gonna do the next King Kong. If you
we're
guys
doing Peter Jackson's for sure.
Yeah. So if you want to see like a King Kong Godzilla, get us getting into Godzilla stuff, let us know.
What it would be, we'd review. We might as well do the Jeff Bridges too, or else it'd just be mean to leave it out. We do Jeff Bridges 1976. We would do Godzilla versus King Kong, the original Japanese film, and then Kong Skull Island.
So yeah, let us know in the comments if we get, let's say like
couple
a couple comments, 50 likes or something like that. A one person who's really passionate about it. I don't know. Just give us recommendations.
Yeah, because we're in the coronavirus phase, and we
gotta watch shit from home now.
we were the only people who bought tickets for this. There were two other people, and we were.
We sat far away.
We were very far away from. But that theater was stuffy, and just. I don't know, just being there, it's just like, let's review from home for the next couple weeks. So
yeah, I think we were some of the only people like that were, I guess, somewhat taking it seriously until a case was like found in town, and now everybody's fucking freaking out.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, you guys should just have good hygiene all the time, but yeah, whatever.
Okay. So let's review some Kong. Oh, the next videos that we post, they're older videos. So I know right now we're like, we're gonna review at home, and we're probably gonna keep posting older videos that we just haven't gotten around to yet.
I've been super busy. I'm not busy anymore though.
So yeah, like it's our Invisible Man. We're not gonna keep fighting. Yeah. Okay. Any last words about King Kong, 1933?
Yeah, I mean, you did the like, yeah,
dude, who plays yeah, okay.
Oh, I know.
Okay. Yeah, it's fucking classic. If you're watching this review and you haven't seen King Kong, go watch King Kong.
Yeah, they got Blu-rays of it apparently.
Yeah, they're actually I think kind of hard to get. But
they don't got Blu-rays.
Or maybe
of it,
the
apparently.
DVDs are. It's on streaming though for sure. Not like super difficult to get. It's just like they're not under $10.
Oh, one thing that I wanted to comment, because you mentioned how this didn't have blackface. It doesn't necessarily have to do with this movie, but yeah, Disney said that they weren't going to have Song of the South on Disney Plus because it's racist as fuck.
It's also boring. I don't know.
I've never seen it, but
it's very boring. I don't care either way.
But yeah, so yeah, had to do with blackface. Forgot to comment that. So there you go. I might cut that out, but
it's not relevant. I was so surprised. I was like, yeah,
blackface.
No, fuck Disney. We're done with Disney, man.
Yeah, man. All right. So yeah, King Kong.
King Kong.